Today is May the 12th, 2014. It is 13:49 hours. Investigator Bailey and Corporal Pix are going to be interviewing Sergeant Wilkerson, badge 614, reference to ops case number 14A-012. And Sergeant Wilkerson, I went over the employee witness advisory form with you, correct? And you did sign his acknowledgement, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you recall, reason I have you here, do you recall back on April the 28th involving a situation involving a gentleman by the name of Jim Cooley at the Beaufort City School headquarters?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you tell me about that, Sarge?
We initially got a dispatch call through radio saying that there was an armed subject at the Beaufort City School office, which is not technically one of the schools. It's the office complex that manages the schools. Said it was a white male, scruffy beard, had a firearm strapped to his side. I believe that's how the call read, roughly. I arrived first, parked in front of the school. There's like a roundabout. I noticed the subject standing near the front stoop, the stair area of the office. He had a sign leaning on one of the stairs on the post that said something like, "We work for you," or "You work for us." Or from there, I just walked up and said, "Hey, bud, here's why I'm here. You're scaring people, quite simply. The school doesn't want you here. Can you leave?" And then we went into, and you'll have to forgive me, I don't know the exact dialogue between us. It was, him saying, "Well, this is my Second Amendment," and me saying, "Yes, I support you 100%. I like what you're doing. Just go do it on the sidewalk or do it across the street because the school doesn't want you physically up here." He went into, "Well, there's no signs posted saying this is a gun-free zone, this and that." And I go, "Well, it doesn't have to be in this. Really isn't about the gun. They don't want you here, so just go." While we're going around and about, I'm letting him talk about his Second Amendment. At one point, he even pulls out the Constitution, and I think I said something like, "That's a fantastic read." I even said, "Hey, you look like a nice guy." I'm trying to reason with him. "You look like a nice guy. I am a nice guy." "Well, you look like one. Pack up. Let's go. Let's go across the street. Let's get off of the property." No avail. Obviously, I knew what was going on because what I later found out, his wife was standing off to the side, filming us with a camera, which you could kind of see the direction this was going. So officers started to arrive. Unbeknownst to me, Lieutenant White was actually in the building, and he walks out behind me. I'm sitting here still trying to get this guy to get motivated to pack his stuff up and leave. Lieutenant White comes around and says, "Hey, I'm not going to debate the merits of the law or something to you. You got 30 seconds to leave." At that point in time, I basically, because I knew I was getting filmed, I turned around, and I think it's even on the video, and asked Director Branch and some of the school superintendent, I can't remember his name, they were all out on the stairs at this time. I said, "Y'all want him to leave, correct?" And you can hear "yeah" in the background because I wanted to make sure that they understood this was about to go down. Anyways, Lieutenant White gives him 30 seconds. During that 30 seconds, I'm like, "Man, you're about to get arrested. I told you before, this is criminal trespass. Pack up, let's go. Just go down to the sidewalk and you'll be fine. Go across the street and you'll be fine." And, obviously he was there for a particular reason. About 10 seconds in, or 10 seconds left, Lieutenant White goes, "You got about 10 seconds. He turns around, puts his hands in the arrest me position. And at that point, I just walked up. I touched the back of his hands to let him know I was there. And then I moved and covered off on his gun, and we called in Officer Flora to place the handcuffs on him and arrest him. Once he was arrested or placed in handcuffs, all that good stuff, I asked him, "Is that your wife or whatever filming us?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Do you want me to give the gun to her?" He goes, "Yes." I go, "Okay, I'm just going to take it off your belt, okay?" And I undid his belt and slid it off. I walked over to her to hand her the firearm and just tell her to place it in the truck. And no kidding, she goes, "I'm sorry, I thought he was going to leave." And that was about the gist of it. We loaded him up fairly quickly after that, and she left in the vehicle, took the sign and everything, and was gone. And we loaded him up, took him, and Flora was ultimately able to get a criminal trespass warrant against him.
Okay.
So,
In regards to out there on the scene, though, like I said, you were the one that mainly spoke to him and was trying to talk to him until Lieutenant White ultimately came out and said, "Look, this is over with. We can't keep on like this." Basically.
Yes, sir. That was about it. And it was just trying to rationale with him. Look, continue what you're doing. That's fine. Just do it off of the property, a mere 30, 40 yards down the thing onto the sidewalk, or go across the street where the Legion is, where they had already lined up protesting the eminent domain taking of their building. And I go, just do it over there. You know, you don't stop what you're doing, but go. They don't want you here.
But in regards to that, the people, I know you mentioned, we'll go back over them. So you said the security personnel, that's Director Dan Branch, correct, that was there?
That is correct.
And then the school superintendent, it's going to be Dr. Hamby's his name, but he was there. And they both have authority from the school system and the city of Beaufort to ask people to leave their property, correct?
That is correct. And again, just to verify what I'd already known coming into the call that they wanted him to leave, I made sure that I asked again, y'all want him to leave? And they still wanted him to leave. And even still, I tried to plead with him to get off the property, just alleviate the situation.
Did you hear any? Did Flora have any issues getting that warrant? Was the judge hesitant in the beginning?
The judge was hesitant, and I guess there's a couple of issues that the judge was looking at. Is maybe it was a public venue as far as the school board, the city of Beaufort having a public hearing on it. So I'm thinking that was probably her holdup on it. Again, what I looked at, it wasn't necessarily a gun issue because I wasn't going after the gun anyways. He was there making people feel uncomfortable. And from that point, we just looked at it like, well, go do your protest, just do it off of the property. And the judge had some issues with that, and they went back and forth for a while on that. It turns out there are some other, maybe more applicable charges that we now know. 161132 would be one of them.
Which is?
It basically says a school representative can tell basically anybody that's not related to the school to get off a facility if they're there not for school-related purposes or functions. The caveat being, was that a school-related function?
Yeah.
Don't know if it would have worked. However, it may have been a more appropriate charge. Criminal trespass works in our eyes based on the fact that they've asked him to either come in and sit down or leave the property. Because where he was at, standing on the front stoop where the firearm was, making people very uncomfortable. Okay, they even asked him, you know, and I know this later because he's in the car and we're standing out there talking. You know, Director Branch tried to get him to leave. Apparently, the city attorney tried to get him to leave, trying to reason with him. So, what he was doing, he knew exactly what he was doing and the outcome he wanted based on, you know, the ladies there filming. At that point, we really didn't have another option because he wasn't going to leave. And we already had the city officials saying, leave.
Okay. You said you got there first, then the lieutenant came up behind you. When did Florida pull up? Pretty soon after you pulled up?
Flora was there relatively quickly. You'll have to forgive me. I don't know exactly, and I'm sure it's in the CAD history.
Did he ever handle much of the call, or was it pretty much supervised?
He was there for the majority of the interaction. He was there fairly quickly after I was. I went up and made the initial contact saying, hey, school wants you to leave. And we started hemming and hawing about Second Amendment stuff. And that's about the time the other officers started to show up. It wasn't
Did Flora do much talking, though, or was it?
Flora really didn't do a whole lot of talking with it.
Okay. Did you want to go into Flora's report? No? Okay.
And, well, since it's brought, do you know any reason why, in regards to the Flora's report, did you ever review that report?
I did.
Okay. The complainant is saying it wasn't accurate. He's saying you or the lieutenant did all the talking. He doesn't understand why the officer was writing it from like first person.
First person, you know what we're talking
I
about?
understand.
Okay. Any reason why that would have been put in there that way, or? Okay.
I think we even talked about making sure he was putting in the people that did the talking and things like that. Because the first time it came through, it basically left us out, and we went back and said, "Hey, put us in because that's your narrative."
Yeah.
Because you're referring to his second supplemental that he put in the next day
Right.
after. Okay,
Right.
yes, okay, because we have that as well. Okay.
Yeah, I needed the names and stuff to be in there accurately.
No, that's fair.
And of course, y'all have my supplemental that dictates basically verbatim. But as far as speaking to the guy, I know Flora was there for probably 95% of it. But I did a majority of the speaking. The lieutenant did a majority of the speaking. And that's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay. You got anything? That's the only thing. Have you got anything else to add, Sarge?
No.
Okay.
So,
All right, we're going to end the interview. It is 1400.